Hey everybody, um, welcome back to my channel. Um, I wanted to show you my blue steels. They have been doing phenomenally. Um, Obviously, I added some. I said that in a previous video. But since then, before I even added some, didn't notice, but I had a really large female um, that was buried, and I could think you could see her all the way in the far back there. She's been with me for the longest, and she was buried when I got the new batch, right? And they were very small at the time, but she was buried, and she had a lot of little babies, and you can kind of see them all around. Some are swimming right now, and she's buried again. I wanted to talk about that because I have I have been very successful, um, most recently with a couple of changes. Um, and I think I talked about it also in a previous video, but the main thing I did was increasing my water changes. I went from 10% to 20%, and I do it every week now, 20%. And I feed very sparingly. Um, I've been feeding every 3 days, pellet, and very little in terms of pellet. I'm giving them a actually that's Hikari algae wafer right now. Um, I have that because I've had a lot of success with it a while back ago, and I find that they really love it. So I'm giving them some of that now. But yeah, they haven't eaten for maybe a pellet food like this, and or this kind of food, um, maybe 3 or 4 days. And so they're ravenous when they get this. But one thing I do is I feed um, the biofilm by constantly feeding grind up, powderized fish food. Um, I do that because I've noticed they don't really, the big ones don't really, get a lot out of it. The babies get something out of it. So it's good for the babies, and it's probably good for just growing algae on the glass. But, honestly, I don't really have a lot of it on this tank. I have some on others, but in this particular tank, I don't have much. Algae and just, creating a biofilm so that the babies and the other larger shrimps have something to eat in between the pellets. But this idea of not overfeeding, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know why it works, right? Because it's kind of counterintuitive to what you know we as people think, because we eat 3 meals or 2 meals, whatever you do, but you eat a meal every day. But for animals, you know, they don't really eat every day, I guess, right? Or they eat very little every day. They're always in a perpetual state of hunger. Um, and that's why, like, dogs are extremely fat, or dogs and cats, our pets, not just dogs and cat, but our pets are extremely fat on the human beings because we feed them regularly. And I actually come from a a reef, saltwater reef background, and in reef tank keeping, you want to keep the occupants, or and particularly the invertebrates, in a low nutrient um, environment. What's that mean? Meaning that there's so little nutrients in the water, that the water's so clean that they they have to, they don't get a lot to eat, and but when there's too much nutrients in the water, that they become they other problems can happen, like algae and stuff like that and stuff. So I don't know if that kind of a idea comes into play. But you know, just a thought, and that's just something I've been kicking around in my head. But I wanted to definitely show you my blue steels. They've been doing great. I threw in food just so you guys can take a look. But yeah, they're doing really well. I think I had maybe two berry females, right? But I've noticed they need to get really large before they start becoming buried. And I think that's primarily, I've been, I've done some research about these guys, and I think they're supposed to be a cross between blue tigers and blue bolts. Um, so maybe that's what they inherited from the blue tigers, because one of the things I've noticed about my blue tigers is that until they get pretty big, they don't get buried. Unlike my neos, um, even when they look like they're not fully grown yet, they're already buried. So that's something to think about. Maybe that cross between the tiger and the blue bolt caridinas um, made it so transferred that kind of genetics over that they don't really have they don't start to carry eggs until they become really large. But that's just what I've noticed. It may be different with you. If it is, please comment below and let me know. I would love to hear about it. Um, but yeah, this is one of the tanks that is doing well. I think what I might do going forward is I might start talking about tanks that are not doing well after this. Um, I do have um, three tanks that are not doing well, and one of them is a Caridina tank, and two of them are Neocaridina tanks. Um, yeah, it's strange, right? Because Neos tend to do really well, right? But yeah, I have two that are just not doing well, and I'll probably talk about them next and how I plan to I plan to try to resolve that issue. I may not be able to resolve it, right? Because if I can, I would try to, but I don't think I can. I think some of them are just they're just not breeding. They eat, they don't, but they're not particularly active. Um, but they're also not breeding. So I think there's something wrong with them, and so I would like to probably show you, and so that we can so you can see what I plan to do, and maybe show you what happened afterwards as well. But currently, right now, these are my blue steels. They're doing great. I have a lot of babies swimming around, and they are um, thriving at the moment. That hooker moss, I think that's called hooker moss. If I'm wrong, please leave it in the comment below. But I bought a little bit of that and cut it into small pieces and super glued it onto a piece of wood, and it's growing like crazy. I think I'm gonna start cutting some off and putting it into other tanks because I just got too much. Um, yeah, it's doing well, and I'm very happy that this tank is doing well. I got some, I got my crystal reds are starting to do really well now too. Did lose a baby, a baby shrimp, which kind of surprised me. So I stopped feeding for a few days. I stopped feeding them, and so far nothing has died yet. Knock on wood. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna probably start feeding them soon because I have a lot of babies in there, and I want to at least give them powder food. Um, but yeah, the crystal reds are doing, and I'll probably show that soon. But I think you know I want to talk about the tanks that are not doing well and how I plan to how to tackle that issue. Okay. If you guys like these kind of videos, please give me a thumbs up. Um, subscribe to my channel. Please comment. Even if it's negative comments, please let me know what I'm doing wrong so I can improve myself. But ultimately, what I want is to build a community where we can trade ideas, right? We all want to help each other out, and somebody helped me, and so I'm paying it forward by creating this channel to hopefully help you. I've learned a lot from my time online, watching other YouTubers who keep shrimp and fish and aquascaping. So please, um, trade ideas, because we we are we have a hobby can benefit that can benefit others by trading ideas. Okay, thank you.